Hey everyone, welcome back to 5 in 5, where we ask 5 questions in 5 minutes. And we are talking about all things aiR, and today specifically aiR Assist. I am Nicole, Client Solutions Director at Complete Discovery Source, and I am joined by my colleague, Michelle Broxman.
Hi, I'm Michelle Broxman. I am a senior consultant on the AI and analytics team and the managed services team at CDS. Normally, these conversations are between CDS and Relativity, but today CDS is on site at the Relativity office. So we're talking to each other.
Absolutely. And you kind of get to see the behind the scenes of what Michelle and I do every day together. All right. So today we are first going to dive into Relativity's aiR Assist. So Michelle, got some questions for you.
I'm so
All right. Let's dive in. So you and I, we've both been working with aiR Assist for a while now. Since it was in the advanced access program, it is now generally available. What surprised you the most when you started using it on Real Matters?
I don't know if it was a surprise, but I was just so excited because we've had clients coming to us for years, and especially for the last few years, saying, I want to ask my documents questions. How do I ask my documents questions?
Yes.
And this is the first time we can really say, like, yes, here's how. So that was really the most exciting thing. Even in advanced access, and then especially now that it's general, we can just say, like, yeah, here, go wild.
Right. Yeah. Using natural language rather than having to use search syntax. And
yeah, especially because our end clients are not mostly technology experts, right? Like, we're in Relativity every day, and that's awesome. Some of them, that's not their job. Their job is to try cases in court, but they still need to be able to ask the documents questions. And this is really giving them a chance to do that.
Totally. And kind of continuing with that same theme, right? So we're saying this tool, it's designed for practitioners to go into to use. What types of client questions has aiR Assist been especially good at helping answer?
The best example I can think of is one that literally happened yesterday. Perfect example. I was talking to a lawyer who took over a case from somebody who had left the firm. He had a whole bunch of documents. He needed own clients' documents, other parties' documents, no idea what's in them. First priority today is I need to find this one document. And of course, we always had text searches, right? We always could have run some text searches, but we would have had a bunch of false hits. Maybe we wouldn't know what terminology they would have used. Live on the call with him, we built an assist index. We asked it, hey, do you have this particular contract? It pulled back 8 documents, and the very first one was the contract he was looking for. Just taking that big corpus of documents and being able to ask in natural language, do you have the thing I need? Right. And the answer being yes is incredibly powerful.
So you're telling me you found the smoking gun while you were on a demo.
I don't know that it was the smoking gun, but it was the document he was looking for today.
Sure.
And it doesn't get better than that, right? That's the dream.
Absolutely. And I also love the fact that you were able to build the index while you were on the phone. And it wasn't a small index.
Yeah, this was 140,000 documents. So honestly, that worked out really well.
That did.
Yeah. And then just saved it as search, sent it to the dude. Here's your documents. Go wild. Yeah.
So, given the anecdote that you just shared and what we're talking about, how do you think aiR Assist has changed the way that technologists and practitioners are approaching investigations and document review?
I think we're just starting to see that, honestly. The other tools didn't go away. We're still going to use text search. We're still going to use all the other analytics tools, all of the other aiR tools, frankly, all of the other tools that are out there. But this really gives them sort of a shortcut and provide practitioners to not have to think like a computer, to not have to say if the date is between this date and this date, and the email looks kind of like this exact email address, and it contains these words, but not these words. And instead they can just say, hey, did this particular person work at the company before 2024? And then it can do that part.
Right.
That's just a way better experience for end users.
Totally. And providing back the most relevant documents that explain, that highlight its summary or its answer.
And then they don't have to and let's say it didn't, right? Let's say that maybe the question they asked turned out not to be a good candidate for assist or just the answer wasn't a satisfying answer, right? Is there evidence this person worked for this company before this date? Well, no, there's no evidence of that. And now they have a follow-up question. They're not having to craft a new search from scratch or reach out to somebody else to have that other person create a new search. They just ask the next question.
Right. And I think that's especially helpful if you're working at midnight and you need to find a document.
Right. And don't get me wrong, as service providers, we love answering our clients' questions at midnight.
Absolutely.
Our clients are, we work when they work, but also like they may want to work when they want to work, and that's fine too.
One last question. So if someone comes to you today and is like, I haven't used Assist, what piece of advice could you give to me? What would you tell them?
I would say give it a try. There's not a lot to lose from giving it a try. Of course, there are best practices. We share those best practices with our clients in terms of, what it does, what it doesn't do, because there may be certain asks where a different tool is a better match. Totally fine. We'll talk to you about that other tool. When it comes to asking the questions, being as specific as possible, starting narrow and going broader, those kinds of like logistical things. But the kind of high level answer is like, just give it a try. Mm-hmm. You don't have a lot to lose. It's a pretty easy tool and it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. All right. Michelle, thanks so much for comparing notes with me today about aiR Assist. I think it's definitely exciting to be working in the forefront of AI in e-discovery.
Well, Nicole, thank you for interviewing me. Thank you for joining us for this episode of 5 and 5 with CDS, normally CDS and Relativity, today CDS at Relativity. And we'll see you next time.